Hey guys, welcome back. Dietitian Vanessa here, and I'm coming to you guys with a recipe book recommendation for 2023. Now, here's the thing. Most of us, the biggest struggle with cooking is that we don't have enough time to cook. So when I was trying to figure out what recipe book to share with you guys, because I have a ton of recipe books, I ended up going with this one. It's How to Cook Without a Book by Pam Anderson. And the reason why I love this book and I wanted to share this book with you guys is because it's more than just a recipe book. It actually talks about techniques that every cook should know by heart. Basically, she's just saying that most of us just don't have enough time to cook and most of us don't know how to cook. So not only do we have to start from the basics, but we kind of have to learn very simple techniques like how to cook rice, how to cook beans, how to cook lentils, how to grill some delish veggies where it doesn't take forever, and how to make all of these skill sets and techniques kind of intuitive, kind of like part of who we are. Because let's face it, that's one of the biggest struggles. You can purchase whatever recipe book you want to purchase. There's a ton of good ones. But how many of those recipe books are you actually using? How many are stuck in your bookshelf? Or you just use them once in a while when you have time, because the biggest struggle is time. So again, I think if you look at this book, not only are you getting the recipes, but you're getting these techniques. And there's a couple of things that I want to share with you guys that the author, Pam Anderson, shares about cooking. She basically is saying that we kind of need a new way of thinking about cooking, not new recipes. One of the tips that she gives is to shop like a pro. So pretty much that just means that cooking doesn't start in our kitchen. It actually starts way before, when we are not even stepping into a grocery store. It's before, sort of the planning of what meals you're gonna make, what food items you're gonna buy. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I don't plan, and I just go to the grocery store and I pick, whatever I think I might be using to make meals, I usually don't end up making too much meals, and those foods kind of go to waste because there wasn't actually a home for them. So one of the things that I do now is I figure out 2 to 3 recipes that I want to make, during the week, and build off my grocery list off of those recipes. Now, you can get a mobile application, that you can write down your grocery list and then reuse it. That's one thing. Something that I've been doing is I've been using my iPhone, the Notes application, and just writing down what recipe I'm going to use and the grocery list, basically. So I like to check off, when I get whatever food, or I also like to share the note with my husband when he goes to the grocery store, and we kind of divvy up who's gonna get what. But definitely you have to start thinking about food way before you step into the kitchen, which if you're not a cook or not used to cooking, I can see how that could be annoying. That idea of I always have to be thinking about food. But regardless, we always have to be thinking about food because we always have to eat. I mean, unless you're doing intermittent fasting, then you get to just worry about it once, a day. But if you're like everyone else and you're having at least 3 meals a day, you kind of have to think about it. So I think it's better to be prepared. And it's not about being perfect. We're going into 2023. You don't want to be perfect about it or obsessive. But as long as every time you're getting better, I think that's a huge win. So another technique that she shares is to not stop thinking about tomorrow, which basically just means that whenever you are cooking, if you can double the amount in that recipe of, let's say, beans or lentils or rice, so you can have leftovers, or you're making a tomato sauce or a dressing, just make double so you can use it the rest of the week. And so you don't have to get in the kitchen and wait, till the beans are done, till the lentils are done, till the rice is done. These foods that just take longer for us to do, always kind of planning ahead. And this, it's kind of easier if you already planned your meals. One thing that I try to do is if I'm buying a food that it's kind of hard, or a veggie that's kind of hard to reuse intuitively, if I am buying something with radicchio, which radicchio is kind of like bitter, then I try to have at least another recipe that has radicchio, or else the poor little radicchio is going to go to waste because I don't know what else to do with it. So just kind of planning ahead in that way is very, very helpful. Another thing that I do and my husband does is when we make protein, specifically like chicken or fish, we make double. So I have for the next day to make another meal. So just kind of thinking, how can you help yourself out so you don't have to be stuck in the kitchen, or so you don't have to be stuck in the kitchen for a long time. Or if you know that you get home on Wednesday, Thursday, and those days are just like, so busy for you and just like super long days and you don't want to cook, you've already kind of helped yourself out by having some of these, ingredients already done for you, by you. And then her last point is that learn new techniques that turn groceries into dinner. So this is where the cooking techniques come into play. So one of her favorites, she says, is my shove it in the oven technique. She says it's just as it sounds. She basically just gets some ingredients, maybe some veggies, and puts some oil and some seasoning and puts it in the oven, adds like chicken, and puts that in the oven. One thing for me is when I just started to cook, that's like one of the techniques that I utilize. It's like so easy to just chop off veggies and do the same thing, just roast everything in the oven when you don't have time. Or if you like the slow cooker, that's cool too. You kind of have to figure out what works for you. Like there isn't one perfect thing. I think it's just whatever your cooking style is and whatever your lifestyle is, whatever just feels better to you. That's what's going to work. So trying out different things and like not feeling bad about it. Like about a week ago, I made this recipe. It was a chicken in salsa verde. And it took me like 2 hours to make, and I was very exhausted by the end of it. And it did taste really good. I was really proud of it, but it took me forever. But just by doing that, the next time that I do it, because I have to make the salsa verde, I'll make the salsa verde ahead of time. And it had me like get the chicken and like the potatoes and kind of fry them a bit. Well, not fry them, but like put them in oil. And that took forever. So next time what I'll do is just put them in the oven for, a couple minutes, and then I already have my sauce done, so I can just like put everything together. So sometimes it's not going to be perfect. You might be there 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever. But as long as you're assessing and thinking about how can I make this easier for me? Because the truth is, if we don't make cooking easier, it's just going to be so hard to actually integrate cooking as an almost daily, kind of practice. All right, guys, so I'm going to end this video with a quote from the book. Today, I believe it more than ever. Give someone a recipe, they eat a meal. Teach someone to cook, they eat for a lifetime. Yay, isn't that so cool? I'm so excited because I feel so good about like cooking, and I know it's a challenge and all of that, but I hope that you guys start to cook more at home if you're not already. And more than that, that you feel good about what you are eating, and that you feel good about the time that you're spending in the kitchen, and then you just feel good because there's so many things going on in the world. But if you do check out this book, I hope it's as useful to you as it's been to me. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.